Before we get going any further, if you are on the ends of an aisle, can you just squish in just a little bit? There are a few stragglers, really embarrassing for them. You can look at them and point as they come in. But if you could just squeeze in just a little bit and make room on the edges for the others, that would be great. So you and I receive and send hundreds, if not thousands of messages each and every day. And every one of those messages demand a response from us. And those messages we receive aren't all great or cataclysmic. Some of them are just very mundane, very boring, very day-to-day stuff. If you have a kid, the kid is crying, the message is, do something with me. Pick me up, put me down, feed me, change me. You read the message, you respond. You might be driving, going through an intersection, and there's 3 lights there asking you, demanding a response from you. Stop, slow down, or maybe go. And other times, you and I send messages that perhaps we don't intend to send. Sometimes we receive messages that are a little bit off, a little bit out of this world, and sometimes we do that as well. How many of you own a smartphone? How many times have you sent a text and said something that the autocorrect, put words in your mouth? Well, check this out. This poor girl was probably looking for a date on Craigslist. Here's how the conversation went. I can't wait to meet you tomorrow night. Smiley face with a weird goatee. I know, the anticipation is killing me, winky face. We are going to have a great time. I know it. I'm going to hold you hostage. Excuse me? No, that's not what I meant. I'm going to hold you to that. I swiped something wrong. Wow, okay. I'm not a psycho. Please don't be scared to meet me now. Should I be scared? No, it's my phone, not me. Now, I'm no relationship expert, but I'm not sure if the first date is the date where you talk about hostage taking. I mean, maybe the 4th or 5th date. You got to wait for the right moment to bring that up, but on the first date, maybe not so much. You and I receive and send countless messages every single day, and each one of those messages demand a response. And today, on Easter Sunday, the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus is a message to us from God that He has taken the initiative to set the world to rights. And this message this morning invites our response. But the difference here from the other messages around us is that it's not a one-time thing. It's not you do it and it's done with and it's gone forever, you're good to go. This is a response that we do over and over and over, day after day, moment after moment, and actually our entire lives become a response to the resurrection of Jesus. And by our response, we can either deny it, say it's false, it's not true, and I want no part of it, or we can affirm it and say it is true, and I'm going to do something about it. But know the difference. If the resurrection isn't true, if it is false, then none of you and none of this ultimately matters. Everything is just a crapshoot. It's very random, and who knows where it's going. And if that's the truth, then I can deny the resurrection any way I want. I deny the resurrection every time I mistreat my spouse. I deny the resurrection every time I cheat on my taxes. I deny the resurrection every time I overlook the poor and the oppressed. And then that gives me a license to be jaded and sour and disturbed, because why would I bother about any of this or any of you? Because none of it matters and this world isn't going anywhere. But if the resurrection is true, that means that everything matters. If we affirm the resurrection, we're saying that nothing in this life, good or bad, goes to waste. And we affirm the resurrection every single time we return good for evil, every single time we look after one another well. And the reason we bother, the reason that we care, is because you and me and all of creation matters. And it's actually heading somewhere. So affirm or deny, our entire lives become a response to the resurrection of Jesus. And the fancy word that the church has adopted for this response is the word worship. Worship just isn't a word that's limited to sacred music or sacred traditions. In fact, worship is this active response, this moment by moment, day by day. In all of the messages I've received, in all my responses, I am affirming that the resurrection is for real and that everything I see and know matters. But that's not all. There's one more thing. If we affirm the resurrection, if we say that it's true, if we say that all of life matters, if we believe that God is who he says he is, and that Jesus did all the things that he said that he would do, what we actually affirm is ourselves, who we've been created to be, our place and design in creation. And what that ultimately means for you and me is that we don't have to worry and we don't have to be afraid. Jesus said it like this: "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life and what you will eat, or about your body and what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin, yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. Now if that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown in the fire, how much more will he clothe you, you of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink, and don't worry about it, for the world runs after such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well." For many of us who are here this morning, our lives seem to hinge on the idea or on the lie that we don't matter, that we don't belong, that we are worthless, and that we are beyond repair. But the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus says, you do matter. Every part of you. The parts of you that are healthy and good, and the parts of you that are broken. The parts of you that everybody knows about, and the parts of you that absolutely nobody knows about. So when we recognize that we matter, we affirm the resurrection. When we look after each other with utmost care, we affirm the resurrection. When we actively worship God moment to moment, day by day, decision to decision, message to response, we affirm the resurrection of Jesus. And by this approach, we begin to see the world as God does, and that changes everything. This morning we're going to do something here that's very special. As Tana said, this is a practice that Christians have upheld for hundreds of years, water baptism. And there's nothing magical about this tub, and there is nothing magical about this water. I'll tell you what's magical. The magical thing is the people that are going to hop into this tub and affirm the resurrection. And say, I see myself differently. I see the world differently. I matter. All of this matters. And I'm beginning to see all of this from God's point of view. So in these next moments, I would invite you to respond with claps, with songs, with kazoo blows, with tears, with joy. Respond to what is happening here in this tub. Respond to who God is and all that he has done and all that he is going to do.